Hey everybody, welcome to eBay for Business Live. I'm Audrey Tracey. This is our weekly Wednesday broadcast where we talk about everything related to selling on eBay. With me today is my guest Greg Ross Smith. Greg Ross Smith.
There you go.
You
got it?
I got to get these names right. He's with the Guaranteed Delivery team, and today we're talking about eBay Guaranteed Delivery. So, Greg, tell us real quick just about your role and what Guaranteed Delivery is.
Yes, absolutely. So, hello everyone, and I'm on the shipping team for eBay, and responsible largely for making sure that sellers understand what the program is, and understand why they need to be in the program. So that's what I aim to do today.
Excellent.
And just for those who may not have heard, if it's possible, what is eBay Guaranteed Delivery? Just to recap.
Sure.
So eBay Guaranteed Delivery is a new shipping program, and for the first time allows buyers to search for items based on ship speed. And that's kind of important because buyers are becoming more impatient.
Yes, they want that stuff now.
They want it now, even if it's not for a birthday or not for some special occasion.
Right.
They've paid money, they want their items in their hands. I mean, they're being trained to think that way. So Guaranteed Delivery solves for that, for our buyers and sellers.
So Guaranteed Delivery is 3 days or less. Is that correct?
3 days or less is the search functionality for Guaranteed Delivery. So buyers can come on the site, find the Guaranteed Delivery toggle.
Yep.
Once they click that toggle, everything showed to them in the search results can be delivered guaranteed within 3 days.
And so the buyer experience is they go onto eBay, they search for an item, and then at the top of the search results they can flip a switch that will show just the Guaranteed Delivery items, which are the guaranteed to arrive in 3 days or less. So we've been kind of rolling this program out over the last, 18 months or so?
That's it.
What's the latest news with Guaranteed Delivery?
There's lots of latest news, actually.
Good.
So what we've learnt from sellers over the last 18 months is that some of the requirements that we originally had in place were pretty limiting and stopped a lot of sellers from joining the program. So key pieces of updates. We removed the use of eBay labels as a requirement for the program. So that's gone. If you still think that labels are required, they are no longer required. So
meaning sellers can use whatever label platform of their choice. Whatever
label shipping platform they wish to use. Number 2, we have removed immediate pay as a requirement for Guaranteed Delivery. Lots of sellers told us they don't want to use immediate pay for whatever reason, so we've removed that as a requirement. And the third one is that we removed returns as a requirement for Guaranteed Delivery too, because whilst returns is most definitely a best practice, we didn't feel the need to put it into Guaranteed Delivery because for the most part, most listings offered returns anyway. So we've removed those 3 criteria, making it much easier for sellers to be in the program.
Got it. So can we I'm sorry.
Go on.
Can I ask you a question about immediate payment?
Yes.
So if I'm a seller and I sell something and a buyer doesn't immediately pay, let's say it takes them a day to pay, and then they pay. So that's when the clock starts on the 3 days. Is that right?
So the Guaranteed Delivery date shown to the buyer at the time of the initial search is no longer going to be relevant because it's taken a day for payment.
Right.
Once the payment's made, the date changes. That's the new date that the buyer should expect.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the seller is not held to the original date. That wouldn't work.
Right. That doesn't seem fair. Right. Okay, great, excellent.
So along with that, now that we've removed all these requirements, so many more sellers and therefore so much more inventory is eligible for the program. So we made the decision then that if a seller is eligible and their listings are eligible, we're going to include them in the program automatically.
Got it.
Because so many of our sellers are already doing the right things. They're already handling same day or 1 day. They're already using the right carriers that are required for Guaranteed Delivery. So we wanted to give them the benefit automatically of Guaranteed Delivery. So that is what we did. So, I mean, close to 300,000 sellers now are in the program.
Oh, wow.
Which is pretty awesome. It's very stable and robust. So we're happy and we're excited.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So I think we just answered number 2. I'm going to jump to number 3. Is that right?
Oh, yeah, cool.
Okay. I just want to make sure we're on the same script. So how can sellers make sure that their now that we've opted in a bunch of sellers, how can sellers make sure that their listings stay in the program?
Yep. So Guaranteed Delivery is about speed, but it's also about reliability because we want our buyers to know that when they select an item that can be delivered guaranteed, that it actually is going to be delivered guaranteed and that it's not just a false promise.
Right.
So therefore, the requirement on sellers is they meet an on-time delivery performance standard of 97%,
Okay.
same as top rated, so nothing additional, and that their valid tracking upload is at 95%, again same as top rated, just so that our buyer experience within the program is reliable and trustworthy. That's it.
Is there anything they need to do to their listings to remain in the program?
Yes. So there are there are a couple of main requirements to have a listing be guaranteed. Firstly, as long as you're setting a same-day or a one-day handling time on those listings, they can be guaranteed. But secondly, the zip code of the item location needs to be mentioned in the listing.
This is very important.
Very important.
Because otherwise we meaning eBay, we don't know where the item location is, therefore, and we calculate where the buyer location is. That helps us with the 3-day calculation.
Absolutely.
And so if we don't know where the item is located, we can't show your item to those buyers that are within your 3-day radius.
Yep. And the last one there is that on the listing, you must make sure that you're using an eligible carrier service.
Yes.
And again, that goes back to the point of it helps us estimate delivery speed if we know the carrier that you're going to be using. There is an option on listings to state, I'm only offering economy or the generic standard or expedited shipping service. We need the actual carrier to be mentioned in the listing.
Understood. So you've got to pick your FedEx, your UPS, your USPS.
Yeah, so that's it. So 0 1-day handling time, zip code, and specific carrier, and that's it. Those listings will then be guaranteed to buyers to whom you can deliver in 3 days.
So if I'm doing a new listing and it meets all 3 of those requirements, and I'm already opted into the program, I don't have to manually put that listing into the program. The program will recognize it and then offer it up to those buyers.
That's it. There are no additional steps.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So how can sellers tell which of their listings are in the guaranteed delivery program and not in the program?
Yeah, so this is a really important one. We know that sellers who want to maximize the benefit of the program, so get most of their inventory into guaranteed delivery, need a way of figuring out or filtering down to those listings that are not guaranteed. So we've created a tool. It's a guaranteed delivery bulk editing tool, and that will show sellers which of the listings are not guaranteed and the reason they're not guaranteed. So, for example, if half their inventory doesn't have a zip code, you can go in there and in bulk add a zip code to all of those listings.
Perfect.
So there is a link, and I think Ellen's going to share the link, but it's ebay.com/GD bulk edit is the tool that you would access to figure out what listings are not guaranteed. Super easy.
Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. ebay.com/GD bulk edit. Guaranteed delivery bulk edit.
That's it.
GD bulk edit. Okay, what are some tips to give listings the most visibility possible?
Yep. So there are some things that you can do to get maximum reach out of the program. So fast is better. So if you're able to offer a same-day handling, it's going to give you a 1-day shorter delivery promise to the buyer.
Okay.
So where you can do same-day, certainly do so. If you can't do same-day handling for orders after, say, 11 a.m., but before 11 a.m. you can, then use the same-day cutoff calendar to set your same-day cutoff. Right? That way you then at least get some opportunity to show a shorter promise to buyers for those listings that come in before a cutoff.
Yep.
Good thing to do. The second thing is that give your buyers choice. So if you currently only offer an economy shipping service, consider offering an upgrade. So add a standard or an expedited carrier to your listing so that for those buyers that are willing to pay a little bit of money for a faster delivery, they can find that option on your listing. It gives you a chance, a greater chance of making that sale.
And it kind of makes that radius wider, so to speak, on the buyers that you can reach.
Yeah. The third thing is ship costs. So we talk about this all the time. Free shipping most definitely converts better than not free shipping. So where possible, have a free guaranteed option on your listing. Where you offer an upgraded shipping option, fine, you can charge for it because faster shipping is more expensive, but don't make the mistake of overcharging for that shipping option. And without exaggerating, I've seen examples of $500 expedited shipping on listings, and it's ridiculous. That actually will hurt the buyer experience and hurt conversion rather than help you, because some buyers think that just by showing up in the toggle, even if shipping's expensive, it's going to be benefit to the business, Absolutely not. If your shipping is unreasonable, you'll break trust with the buyer.
Yep.
They'll more likely look elsewhere to another buyer who's not trying to quote unquote sort of rip off.
Yeah, that looks like a scam.
Feels
That's
like
not
a
cool.
scam. Not cool at all. Yeah.
Okay, so remind us, one of the benefits of guaranteed delivery is that eBay will step in and help out should there be a problem. So remind us what happens when an item arrives late. What should the seller do in that situation, and what should the buyer do?
Yeah, one of the benefits to buyers of guaranteed delivery is if they've experienced a late delivery, they're able to make a claim to make them feel somewhat compensated for the late delivery. And currently what they can claim is a $5 coupon if shipping happened to have been free from the buyer, from the seller. And they can also claim the ship cost back. So that's good for buyers. So what do sellers have to do? Sellers don't have to do anything.
Because buyers should contact eBay, not the seller in this instance.
That's right. Buyers do not contact the seller. Buyers simply go through their My Orders page. And in that page, against the transaction that was late, they can claim back some compensation. So through the rest of this year, eBay is covering the cost of that compensation completely. The claim rate for EGD is actually very, very low, which is good because for the most part we're maintaining good accuracy of the program, and there's a lot of trust from buyers around guaranteed delivery.
We have a really high percentage of those packages hitting their delivery dates.
Yep, exactly right. So in the event that buyers are claiming, eBay is covering the costs for sellers, whether the seller made a mistake or whether the carrier made a mistake or any other reason.
Okay, great. Excellent. Thank you for all that.
Of course.
Okay, I think we're going to take some questions. Alan, do we have questions on guaranteed delivery? Hold on. Wait for your mic.
Okay. Yeah, we have a couple of questions on Facebook today. So Connie is wondering, and maybe you touched on it, but just to go over it again, how can she verify that her items are eligible or in the EGD program?
Yep. So the best way of verifying that a seller is showing up as guaranteed is for that seller to go into eBay and act as though they were a buyer. So search for their own seller ID, change the zip code so that they're not searching to and from their very own zip code, but pick a major city nearby, pretend that they're a buyer in that city, and see what shows up guaranteed from their own seller ID. That's the way that they can see whether they're showing up or not. But of course, the other way then is just to use the bulk edit tool to see what listings don't have some of the eligibility criteria attached.
Okay, great, thank you. Deborah is wondering, will items still show to buyers outside of the region? So maybe it won't show guaranteed, but maybe it will still show elsewhere. So can you talk about what that might look like for
absolutely.
buyers that live far away?
Yeah, really good question, actually. Guaranteed delivery does not restrict buyers outside of that delivery zone from seeing the items. Simply that if it gets delivered in longer than 3 days, it just won't show as guaranteed. So the same experience they see today will persist, but where guaranteed delivery is possible, that's the added benefit to those buyers in that region.
Yes. Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Sue is wondering, how early can same-day cutoff be?
Ooh.
So early that it wouldn't be useful, I think. I think the calendar allows them to set a 5 a.m. cutoff. But then any order that comes in after 5 a.m. is treated as next day. So there's no benefit to that, really, of setting a same day so early.
Right. Okay. And I believe that the typical seller behavior is kind of they set their cutoff time according to either when they go to the post office or when their carrier picks up. So if your carrier picks up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you could do your cutoff at 2 safely.
Yep.
Or if your guy comes earlier, guy or gal comes earlier, then you would set it earlier. But obviously, it's better to have it later in the day.
Yeah.
And then if you walk your items to the post office, then you can kind of choose that time on your own.
Yeah.
It's not dependent on when your guy comes to pick
you
up.
got it.
Okay, great. Okay.
Ralph was wondering, are there any insights maybe in Seller Hub where sellers can see which listings sold through the guaranteed delivery toggle? Any insights for sellers?
That is an ask we've got often, actually. And so through the rest of this year and the next couple of months, we're planning to build that functionality into Seller Hub where sellers can see which items have come through with a guarantee request. And they can also see which items are converting better, that kind of business metric we're building in throughout the rest of this year.
That'll be great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Cool. And Sue has a question. She's wondering, so sellers in the middle of the country, potentially, do they have more guaranteed delivery presence if they're able to get it out to the west and east coast faster than, say, somebody based in California?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, what we sometimes see is that sellers on the east or west coast can often get all the way across the country with a 3-day guarantee, depending on what carrier they're offering and also where the buyer's located. Because buyers in major metro areas typically have great reach from carriers who have higher service performance to major metros. So New York to Los Angeles, 3 days. I mean, usually is no problem. But I guess if you wanted to generalize down to the most basic level, you might say that buyers or sellers in the middle of the country have better reach. It would stand to reason, but there are many other factors in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
So we don't really have any more questions. We have a couple of sellers in the comments saying that they're trying out guaranteed delivery and they want the edge over other sellers on eBay, and they're having some fantastic results.
Excellent.
We're also seeing comments from some sellers who are concerned, they're maybe not sure. So I suppose the guidance will be to test it out on some listings if they can do it, but we're seeing a couple of success stories here in the comments, which is great to see.
It is great to see, and I'll touch on that too, that guaranteed delivery, all a seller needs to do is set a same-day or a one-day handling time. That is really it. They are not having to bear the burden of predicting what the post office can do or what their carriers can do. All they have to worry about is what they can do from a handling time point of view. eBay then takes over and makes the guaranteed delivery promise to the buyer, and we back up that promise because we're covering all of the recompense cost to buyers. So I consider it to be a risk-free endeavor to try out guaranteed delivery now. See how it works for your business, play around with different carriers offered to the buyers, see what buyers are going for, play with ship cost to really sort of optimize into the program as best as they can. But it's risk-free right now. Why would you not? Yeah,
and I think the key takeaway there is, so long as you've met your handling time, you'll be covered, and you can understand your handling time by the scans. So I know scans bring up a whole nother set of issues. Yeah. But so long as you've met your handling time, you have done your duty in terms of getting that package out into the mail stream, and then eBay takes over responsibility from that point forward. That's right. So that's why we think it's so risk-free, and I love your suggestions about testing it, play with it, see what works, what doesn't, because there's really no reason to not test it and see if it works for your business. Yeah, if you're already doing these things. If you're already offering same day, one day, if you already have zip code and you already have eligible carriers on your listings, why would you not? I mean, you're already doing the right things, and this is just additional benefit. These are not onerous asks. There's no downside. There's no downside. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Anything else, Alan?
This comment has come up twice. You mentioned associating listings with a rate table.
Okay.
So maybe could you just clarify how sellers do that or what that means?
So this is, there are about 1,000 or 1,500 sellers for whom this would be relevant. Sellers with more than one shipping location, only sellers with more than one shipping location, need to consider creating rate tables instead. Those rate tables tell eBay how fast a seller can deliver to all areas of the country based on their multiple shipping locations. But for the majority of sellers, 95, 6, 7, 8% of sellers with single location just need to worry about handling time. For that other 1,000 sellers with multiple shipping locations, there's a whole other process that I'm happy to talk with sellers individually on about how to set up rate tables and associate to listings.
Yeah. Great. Makes sense.
Yep.
I think we're done for questions.
Okay. We need to wrap it up. Thank you so much for being here, Greg. We love talking about guaranteed delivery. Let me do some quick plugs. Join the weekly chat. Greg is going to participate in the weekly chat starting in just a few minutes, 1 o'clock Pacific time. So if you have further questions on guaranteed delivery, he and his team will be there to answer them. You can reach that at ebay.com/community chat. And then lastly, of course, always listen to eBay Radios Tuesdays and Thursdays starting at 11 a.m. 11 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And be sure to join us next week on Facebook Live. We will have Bob Cuppins, VP of Selling, here. We've been collecting your questions over the last week or so on the community, and he will be here to answer them live. So be sure to be sure to join us. It's a high-level eBay executive talking about where eBay's headed and answering your questions. So we would love to have you join then. Okay, thank you. See you next week. Take care.
You.
Bye-bye.
Bye.